Conservative new media viewers, LA Lakers fans around the world, JLin fans around the world. What is up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss in the long video the Lakers' 106-96 victory tonight over the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, Michigan. Now, let me just say before I get started on game information, this is the only video of the game that I'm making tonight. So if you were looking for the short video and you didn't see it, I didn't do it. I just have some other things I got to get done tonight, and I missed the beginning of this game while I was doing one of those things. So we're just going to keep it simple, but it's actually okay because Jeremy didn't get to do a whole bunch in this game. So that's just that actually works out well for my plan. Okay, now, before we get into the game, let's talk about the talk that was going on pregame and just what's going on around the team. Kobe supposedly was exhausted heading into this game. It sounds like he might be sick because he was apparently taking antibiotics before the game or yesterday or whenever or today, something like this. So he looked pretty tired during the game. I don't know if that's fatigue from how he played in the Toronto game or if he just got sick. I'm not really sure. I haven't been able to check all the information from today, so I can't really fully get up to speed with that. They did not mention during the game, however, that he was sick. At least not when I was listening to the broadcast on the Time Warner Cable Sportsnet. So I didn't hear that if that was the case. Before the game, Byron Scott made no lineup changes. There was discussion, and Byron himself said before the Toronto game that he was going to looking at some lineup changes possibly starting tonight on the road trip, but that did not happen. And my thing is, you don't really need to do it if you're winning. Particularly, you just beat Toronto, as one of the best teams in the league. So I'm not surprised that Byron backed off of that. Now, according to Mark Medina, Byron Scott said that before the game, I would imagine in the shoot-around, which is the team gets together maybe 6-7 hours, maybe something like that, before the game takes place at night. Byron Scott, I'm reading here, this is a quote basically from Mark Medina's Twitter. Byron Scott talked more about JLin, saying he needs to master more point guard instincts. Noted with the Knicks, he had ball 95% of the time. So this goes to the whole JLin might be part of the lineup changes comments that I've been saying on Twitter and that Mark Medina mentioned in a recent article that he put in. And then he also said, did Byron, that he did not consult with Mike D'Antoni about how to use JLin. That was a little joke. Of course, Mike D'Antoni worked great with JLin, and Mike D'Antoni was the coach of the Lakers last year, and so kind of makes sense that Byron and Mike probably haven't talked very much about anything. So that was just kind of a joke there. Now, I will say this, a couple different things. And Jeremy does need to continue to work on his point guard instincts. Jeremy's a natural scorer. And he came into the NBA playing at Harvard as a shooting guard. Shooting guard's responsibility usually is to shoot and to score. So he is still transitioning in that regard. That's a fair critique. It is. Jeremy does like to pass, and he's good at passing. We've seen that. We saw it in New York. We saw it in the game before the Toronto game when Jeremy had 11 assists. So it's not like he can't pass the ball. Some of this has to do with fit. It's the way that Byron wants to run the offense, having to incorporate Kobe. If you put Jeremy in a heavy pick and roll offense like Mike D'Antoni's, then you're going to get a bunch of assists. But now this is a little bit of a different thing, and so it's a fair critique. the more that Jeremy can learn to play in different styles and different systems, the better he's going to be. This is what I said when he was with Houston. Look, okay, they're taking you off the ball, and they're basically having you run into the corner and shooting threes. All right, so now you can learn to shoot three-pointers better, which he did, and that's helped his career and will continue to help him. And he did learn to play without the ball more, and that's helped him. So this isn't the ideal setup for him, playing with another ball-dominant player in Kobe, but he can still grow from it. Team won tonight, so there's probably not going to be any lineup changes coming soon. So if he can continue to grow while he's also starting, fantastic. Fantastic. As I've said many times, Jeremy's not a finished product. He does still need to learn some things and needs to improve some things. Mark Medina mentioned on Twitter recently to Nathan Gottlieb, one of the things Byron's concerned about with Jeremy is shot clock management. Now that can mean going into putting up a shot too quickly and having too fast of a pace for the team. And it can mean not initiating the offense fast enough. You're holding the ball too much or dribbling too much, etc. So these are things Jeremy can still work on. And I don't have any problem with that. That being said, it's not totally fair. I agree with all of that. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Jeremy's still developing. And I think that in tonight's game, and I missed the first 9 minutes of the first quarter. So I missed Jeremy's first rotation, basically. It does look like Kobe played more of the point guard, but he was also letting Jeremy play it some. So I don't think they're completely trying to phase out Jeremy. I think they're trying to have Jeremy learn how to do it the way that they want it done. And again, if he's able to do that as a starter, fine. That's fine. So we'll see. Hopefully he's able to do that. If the team's winning, then the lineup's probably not going to change very much. Okay, now, getting more toward the game, Detroit came into this game having lost 8 straight in a row. We made it 9 straight tonight. Also, one of the Detroit players who was not playing is Jody Meeks, who of course was a Laker last year, and it's a shame. I think Jody's really improved his game considerably. And I feel bad for him that he was not able to participate in this game, but I think he has a back injury, and hopefully he'll be able to heal up and come in and perform well with his new team. And they definitely need his help. That's for sure. So the overview of this game, and I'll just do some quick quarter by quarter. I'm not going to make this too long. Jeremy didn't do a lot, and most of the game was. Or a lot of the game was Lakers just kind of rolling over the Pistons. The Pistons look like they don't shoot the ball well, and their will to compete doesn't look very good. So once the Lakers kind of got control of this game in the third quarter, it's like Detroit just kind of faded away. And that's good. Now, unfortunately, the Lakers starters had to come back into the game in like the middle of the fourth quarter because the bench couldn't hold a 21-point lead. So that's unfortunate because the Lakers have to play tomorrow night. So that's the one negative from this game. But they didn't, at least they won. And this is the Lakers' second 2-game winning streak of the season. And they like playing the East. Lakers just do really well against the East. I think this is 4-0 they are now against the East. So good. Let's keep playing the East. So that's the main overview here. The overview for Jeremy is he didn't have the ball a ton as the point guard. He didn't take a lot of shots, but he performed well within what he did. And that's it. I will take that. This is another good game. We came into this game off of a not good game for Jeremy against Toronto. But this is now the 11th time in the last 14 games that he's played well. So, again, consistency and this and that, he's doing well. Yes, he still needs to improve, and he needs to improve to the satisfaction of Byron Scott and or Kobe. Okay. But he's playing well. He's improving. As I've said, I'm perfectly happy with where he's at right now. Hopefully the team will be happy enough with him that he can remain starting if you're a Jeremy Lin fan. And right now, get a couple wins in a row, and that looks pretty good. So that's basically the overview for the game and the overview for him. Now let's talk a little bit more specifically. First, I'll do quick stats. Lakers led by Jordan Hill's 22 points, 13 rebounds. All the starters were double-figure scoring, as was Nick Young off the bench. Kobe, 12 points, 13 assists, but he did have 10 turnovers. Carlos Boozer, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Wesley Johnson, 13 points. Jeremy, actually, let me do Nick first. Nick Young, 19 points. Ed Davis, 11 rebounds off the bench. Jeremy, 11 points in 30 minutes. Shot 2 of 5 from the field, including 2 of 4 from the three-point line. 5 of 7 free throws made. 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. Plus minus was a plus 12. Jeremy was good in this game. He was definitely better than his counterpart, Brandon Jennings of the Detroit Pistons. He was the best point guard in this game. So, good. I mean, one of Stu Lance, who's the analyst for the Lakers on TV, said one of his keys to the game was shutting down Brandon Jennings. Well, Brandon Jennings definitely got shut down because he shot 2 of 10 from the field. So you're not going to win many games when one of the guys that supposedly is going to hurt your team is shooting 20% from the field. Jeremy was efficient. And as you can tell from the stats, all but one of his field goal attempts was from three-point range. So basically, he kind of played the role tonight that he played in Houston, which is spot up, let the shooting guard run the offense, but Jeremy still touched the ball quite a bit, enough to get 5 assists. What he did a little bit more tonight was he wasn't dribbling into the lane a whole bunch. He was swinging the ball more, and he wasn't looking to shoot as much. So it's clear to me that Jeremy's taking into consideration what the team wants him to do. They probably told him, shoot a little bit less, look for your shot a little bit less, let Kobe handle the ball more, run the offense a little bit more, and be ready if Kobe hits you with a pass. He performed that role extremely well. Really well. The only negative you could say about him tonight was he shot under 50% from the field, which no big deal. He shot 40%, and his free throw percentage could have been a little bit better, but he played well. He did what he needed to do, and the team won. So I will definitely take it. And that's it. Now, I'll just quickly go through quarter by quarter, just any particular notes. Byron substituted Ed Davis and Nick Young in for Carlos Boozer and Wesley Johnson 6 minutes into this game. So this might also be part of the lineup changes that Byron was talking about. Meaning those were the first 2 guys that got the hook in this game. And I think that makes some sense. Nick is a spark offensively. Wesley has struggled somewhat with his shot, although someone pointed out on Twitter correctly that this is I think Dartboard Trader, this is the 3rd straight game, I believe, that Wesley Johnson's been double-digit scoring. So that's huge. That's big. Carlos has struggled with his defense some, and he struggled with it tonight against Josh Smith. So bring in Ed Davis, who is probably the best defender on the team. Statistically, he definitely is that. So part of what I think happened with Byron and saying the lineup changes and stuff is he was trying to wake the team up. You lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves. You shouldn't have lost that game. And there was concern from the coaching staff that some of the guys really didn't care. I don't know who it was, but one of the coaches said to one of the players, hey, it's almost like you're trying to get the game over with to do whatever else you have to do today. In other words, like the game's not even important. Whatever else you're going to do is what's important to you. So I think part of it was to motivate players, the talk of lineup changes. But also, with Byron coming back today and saying that Jeremy still needs to work on point guard instincts, and with Kobe definitely playing more of the point guard role in the last two games, obviously there is some concern there with Jeremy. I think that's fair. I think it's fair, and I think it's fine. I think it's not unexpected for Jeremy at this point in his career. He's still learning. He's still growing. And this isn't the perfect system for him. So he's still got to work on that some. And I don't have any problem with that at all. And particularly if he's still able to start. And I'll tell you like this. If Kobe's playing the point guard and Jeremy's shooting the ball well, there's no reason not to start him. Now, I know some people talked about Ronnie Price maybe being the starter. My own personal feeling is that if Jeremy was not going to start, then I could see Byron Scott starting Wayne Ellington. Have Kobe play point and have Wayne Ellington basically play your starting shooting guard. And I could see that happening. The reason why I say that is the two times when Jeremy has been substituted out of the game in the last 5 or 6 games or whatever, he was substituted for Wayne Ellington. And so the closing unit was basically Wayne Ellington, Kobe Bryant, Nick Young, and then I think Boozer and Jordan Hill, or Ed Davis and Jordan Hill. So that's why I say this. It seems like Byron's comfortable with that lineup. And you basically put 2 shooters on the floor, in Wayne Ellington and Nick Young. Those are guys are probably considered the best pure three-point shooters on the team. You let Kobe run point. You got a pretty big lineup for defense, and you roll with it. But again, right now, you don't need to do that because you're winning and Jeremy's still starting. So, we'll see. I'm not worried about it, though. I still think LA is the spot for Jeremy, even if he became a guy off the bench. This is Byron's thing. It's Kobe's system and Kobe ball for right now, but Kobe's only going to play this year and next year probably. And once Kobe leaves, there's a very good chance that Byron's going to leave. So just kind of hang around, work on your skills, and take it from there. And like I said, Jeremy still has plenty to improve upon. He's improved a tremendous amount in the last 2 years, but he still has more to work on. So right now, just keep working. Just keep working. It can often take point guards quite a while to reach their peak because they have a lot of responsibility. You have to learn how to see the game and play the way that you need to play on the professional level versus the collegiate level. It's a different game. And again, for Jeremy, he played shooting guard in college. So he's got that transition to make as well. So, and Jeremy's played for 4 different coaches, I think, in 5 years. And he's played then in 4 different systems in 5 years. He's just trying to put it all together right now. And as we've said previously, he's only had 2 summers to really work on his game with an understanding of what he needed to improve and being fully healthy. So I'm not discouraged. I'm not upset. I'm not anything. I want Jeremy to give a fair chance and a fair shake. And I want him to continue to improve. And at least he's the starter right now. Even if you don't think Byron's doing everything fair or Kobe, whatever with him, he's a starter and he's improving. Good. So let's just keep going. And if for whatever reason Jeremy doesn't want to be with the Lakers going into next year, he doesn't have to be because he's going to be a free agent this summer. So everything's cool right now, particularly with him still starting. Everything's fine. He made some adjustments tonight, so good. Hopefully the coaching staff will appreciate that, and then we'll just go from there. Okay. Okay, so that's the first quarter again. I missed the majority of the first quarter, and there wasn't a tremendous amount of action from what I saw when I did get to check out the game. Then JLin said early in the second that the team needs Nick Young or Kobe Bryant on the floor at all times because those guys can create their own shot. That's true, and they are better at that than Jeremy is, at least right now. Kobe's one of the best shot creators in the league, even now at his age and with the injuries and the mileage. Nick is a better pure shooter than Jeremy. He's a lot taller than Jeremy is. So that's I understand where Stu is coming from with that. Jeremy is still working on his perimeter moves. He's still working to tighten up his shot. He's getting there. Again, I'm certainly not saying Nick Young's flawless. Nick's not as good as he thinks he is. And you saw an air ball or two from him tonight, but he's, as a shot creator right now, and as a shooter, he's ahead of Jeremy. And with perimeter moves and being able to get his shot off the way he wants. From the perimeter, he's ahead of Jeremy. Driving to the basket, not sure about that. Jeremy still needs he needs to advance in terms of using his floater and such more. And so that might take a little bit more time. When he gets his floater down in terms of avoiding charges and not going into situations where a shot's going to get blocked by using the floater, then I would think he'd be better than Nick. Because Nick's a good dribbler, but he's not a great dribbler. And I think Jeremy's a little quicker to the basket than Nick is. Okay, so Stu Lance then said in the middle of the second that Kobe Bryant had 4 turnovers, but they were not all his fault. That is true. I agree with that. However, as I said on Twitter, if Stu's going to say that about Kobe, he should say it about Jeremy and everybody else. Part of the problem with the Lakers is that they don't complete plays well. So Kobe had 12 assists, and he could have had a whole bunch more, but guys weren't finishing shots. They weren't hitting layups. Well, that also applies to JLin. So you think he's not passing the ball enough, or his assist totals aren't high enough? Well, they could be a lot higher if guys would hit shots, or if guys would catch the ball, like Carlos Boozer in the Toronto game when Jeremy basically put the ball right in his chest and Carlos fumbled it away. So that's a case where got to be fair. Got to be fair. The announcers have to be fair to everybody. Okay, then Jeremy late in the second probably had his best play of the game. He passed the ball to Wesley Johnson along the right in the right corner, and Wesley caught the ball, went right on the baseline, and made a super dunk, and he was fouled. So Wesley and Jeremy have hit on some epic dunks this season. Of course, the alley-oop dunk against, I think that was either Minnesota or Toronto. That was an incredible play from half court to Wesley, and he was fouled on that play as well. And this dunk right here. So that's good to see. I'm really happy that Wesley's playing better. As I said, Wesley and Jeremy are relatively similar, I think, in temperament. They both have high ability and a high ceiling of their playing level. Sometimes the confidence or whatever can be a little off. Wesley's starting to get more confidence, and that is good to see. Jeremy's definitely gaining more confidence. There's no question about that in my mind. He's becoming much more consistent in his performances. So he's further along in that respect than I think Wesley is. And that's good to see. Okay, yeah, I mean, look, I made a note that says, yes, it's annoying. Kobe's trying to kind of phase out or leave out Jeremy. But again, I don't think this isn't James Harden 2. I think, and I'm not saying this is right, but for Kobe and Byron Scott, they want to win games. And they have it in their head that, well, maybe Jeremy's decision-making or instincts aren't the thing that we need to win games. Now, again, I'm not saying that's correct, but so they're doing what they think they have to do, which is, okay, let's let Kobe play point guard, because he can do that if he wants to do it. I said on Twitter, Kobe's great at drawing a double team to him, and he can still find an open man. And he can do it when he jumps up like he's going to shoot, and he can still do it. So I get it. I get it. My personal feeling with Harden was that Harden wanted to run the offense, regardless of whether Jeremy was good at it or better at it than Harden was or not. I don't think Kobe wants to run the offense. I think he and Byron feel like he needs to run the offense for the team to be as good as they can be. So again, I do not think it's. I don't think this is Harden Part 2. I can't wait until Steve Nash hangs out with the team more, because I think he said he would, and I've read something recently that Steve's probably going to be around with the Lakers for a long time, maybe in some type of executive or, well, maybe not executive, but coaching or consulting type of role. The more, if Jeremy can continue to work with Steve, or Steve's like an assistant coach or something, that would really help tremendously. So again, don't be too discouraged if you're a Lin fan. He's 100% improving. There's no question he's improving as a player. I have no doubt about that. He is more consistent. He is doing things better. He is getting more perimeter moves. And I do think it's a fair critique of him to say that he does need a little bit more point guard instinct, and just kind of maybe run the offense a little quicker in terms of swing the ball a little faster so the shot clock doesn't tick off. Don't dribble the ball too much, just looking for your shot. So I'm okay with that. Jeremy's progressed so far. He just needs to get a little bit further. And you know, as I said this early in the season, if he can just get up the mountain one more time, then I think he's going to be in good shape in his career. Now, I didn't mean it as applied to point guard instincts or whatever, but for me, it's kind of the same thing. Just one more time, a little bit more refinement, and then he's going to be cool. And he's on his way. He's 100% progressing. There's no question in my mind. So if he can consolidate those gains, and now you start looking at what they want you to do in terms of the quote-unquote point guard instincts, then that's it. Then he can be even more where he wants to be and be able to run a team as the point guard in whatever system he gets to, whether it's Mike D'Antoni's system or Byron Scott Princeton's system or whatever it is. He's getting there. He's getting there, and he still has a little ways to go. It's okay. Just think of how much he's already progressed. And so there's no reason to think he won't get there. And thank goodness his health has been good this year, just like it was mostly last year. So he's been able to maintain his health. Great. I said take the long-term view here. He's still relatively inexperienced player who's, again, been asked to do different things in different systems year after year. He's still kind of figuring it all out. And if you notice after the Minnesota game, both Kobe and Byron, particularly Kobe, they both said the boneheaded decisions, all that, but what Kobe said after that game was that it's young guys learning how to play, making mistakes they have to make. Now, Jeremy has to do this And by doing it, then you learn. But you have to have the opportunity to learn. Good thing is he is still having the opportunity. But Byron and Kobe want to win. So they don't want to wait for the young guys to make mistakes. And so I think that's kind of the push-pull that you're seeing right now. And that's my opinion of kind of what's happening or what has been happening. Okay. One of the things that the announcers mentioned, that I believe Stu Lance mentioned, was that the Lakers were getting the ball inside more. And I think that's true. They were getting inside more, and Kobe was doing a good job of finding guys on the inside. So that's another thing that I would imagine that the Lakers and Byron want Jeremy to do. Look to get the ball inside, and you don't have to get the ball inside by dribbling to the paint and dishing it off, which there's certainly nothing wrong with that, doing it that way. But that might not be what their system wants you to do, and it might take a little bit too long on the shot clock to initiate that type of an offense. So I think, to me, that's kind of a hint. If they are doing that more, that's probably what they want Jeremy to do, so he can continue to work to do that thing. Okay. Then Jeremy, early in the third, hit his second three-pointer of the game and his second basket period of the game. It was a three from the top of the arc. It was just a nice shot. His shot looked good tonight. He then missed a technical free throw attempt. Just somebody in Detroit got a tech, and Jeremy shot the technical free throw, and he missed it. Then, just looking at this, the crowd, and they talked about this in the broadcast, the crowd was chanting for Kobe and stuff, and that's not a surprise. The Lakers are very popular around the league, and certain fan bases really seem to be partial to the Lakers and to Kobe. They mentioned this during the broadcast. Detroit, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., those three, I would say, definitely seem inclined that way. Then, Jeremy, middle of the third, had a nice, someone stole the ball. I thought Jeremy stole it, but they did not give him credit for the steal. Then he dished the ball ahead to Kobe for a layup in transition. And this is when the game was basically getting all Lakers. They were, in this point in time, they were on a 20-4 run. And the Pistons were just kind of reeling. And it looked like this was just going to be an easy coast in from C victory. The starters would be able to rest the entire fourth quarter and all of that, but unfortunately it did not end up that way in the end. Then I noticed this was also middle of the third. Nick Young came in. Nick Young brought the ball up, so the ball was passed to him out of bounds. He brought it up and passed it to Kobe. So this was an instance where Jeremy was just this was a Houston type of a situation where it's almost like he wasn't needed because Nick and Kobe were just kind of playing the point guard role. But look, it's going to happen at certain times. And I don't have a huge problem with it if the team does well in those situations. My suggestion in those instances for Jeremy is be ready to shoot. Set yourself up and be ready to shoot, which he's put in the hard work on his three-pointers and stuff. And if you get the ball, be ready to drive if there's a driving lane, and continue to work on your point guard skills so that this happens less and less. Again, I'm not saying it's fair. Just work with the situation. Work on whatever skills that you need to develop or the team feels you need to develop, and it will happen fewer and fewer times. So, okay, Jeremy came out of the game with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left late in the third. The score was, I believe, 75-58 Lakers. So they were up like 17 points, and it even got a little bit bigger. And by the end, it had gotten up to 21 points, and the quarter ended with the Lakers up 16. And it looked like everything was all over. It was done. But then going into the fourth quarter, the bench stopped playing defense, essentially. And so the lead got down to 11 points, 88-77 Lakers. And so with 6 minutes and 39 seconds left, JLin, Kobe Bryant, and all the starters came back in. So they came back in. They were able to kind of settle in. Jeremy, late in the fourth, had a nice pass to Carlos Boozer for a layup. Then also late in the fourth, I noticed Kobe talking to Jeremy during Detroit shooting free throws, I believe, or maybe the Lakers. And it looked like he was telling Jeremy to swing the ball, move the ball quicker into the corner, the left-hand corner. So this is part of this decision-making and point guard instincts and all this type of thing. That's fine. Yeah, so that was about it. And those are all like the main notes that I made from the game. So, look, the upshot for Lin fans is the team won its second game in a row. That makes it easier on Byron Scott to keep the lineup what it is. Jeremy performed well the second game in a row with no turnovers. Now, I said on Twitter, yes, he's playing the Patrick Beverley role. If you don't have the ball, you can't turn the ball over, but that helps his stats. After the last game, his stats, his per 36 minutes turnovers was down to 3.2, which is pretty darn good for a point guard. Now it's going to be even lower. It could even be like, 3.0 or something like that, or maybe not because he didn't play a ton of minutes, but okay. All right, good. That makes his numbers look better. Now his assists will come down, but the knock on Jeremy's the turnovers. So let's take what we can out of this, which is turnovers numbers going down, 3-point percentage is going up. The team won with you as the starter. Well, let's just take it from here. And so I said, it did appear as though Jeremy adjusted his game a little bit in this contest. Maybe according to what Byron and Kobe wanted. So, fine. He still played well. He still had an efficient night. I think his efficiency for the night was, let me do it real quickly. I'd done it previously. His efficiency for the night was 15 in 30 minutes. His PER will probably go up from this, or it's not going to go down. So at worst, it'll hold neutral. It'll probably go up slightly. So it's a good outing for him. And let's just keep going. I said, I think Byron was getting jittery because the team's record was going downhill. And he was brought in to do better than Mike D'Antoni. And with the way the team was, the trajectory of the team, the winning percentage of the team looked like it was going to be the worst season in franchise history. So Byron's freaking out because if Byron doesn't win some whatever, he's not going to stick around. So I think this is a lot of what this discussion was about. You have a guy he needs to win, and so he's trying to throw darts at the wall and figure out what's the best plan. So that is it. I'm perfectly content. Sure, let Jeremy help Jeremy, have him continue to work on some of these things, but hopefully he'll continue to be the starter. And I think that as we continue to move along in the season, Jeremy will get better and better and better. It's unfortunate that all this conversations got brought up because he was playing so well. I don't want anything to kind of get him off course. He rebounded tonight from the Toronto game, and he looked good tonight. So it hasn't gotten him too far off course. So the more Jeremy goes through all of this, all the little ups and downs, and the steadier he's going to get. So I'm not happy that this is going on right now, particularly as he's been playing well. But it's toughening him up. He's getting stronger mentally. He's getting stronger in terms of his game. He's in a situation he likes much better than the situation he was in Houston. Okay, let's move on to tomorrow night's game, and let's try to get another win, and let's try to get another good Jeremy Lin performance if you're a Lin fan. So I'm not going to wring my hands too much because since Byron talked about lineup changes, the team's won 2 games in a row. Winning cures everything. So let's head on to the next game. Let's see if we can get a win. And that game will be tomorrow, Wednesday, December 3rd in the United States, and it'll take place 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 a.m. Thursday, December 4th in Manila, the Philippines, and Taipei, Taiwan, against the Washington Wizards in Washington, D.C. Washington is a good team. They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They're currently 11-5 in terms of their record. They're deep. They're well balanced. I don't know if Nene, their starting power forward, is going to play because I think he's missed a couple games in a row. It'd be a lot easier to beat them if Nene's not playing, in my opinion. But the Wizards will definitely be favored. I don't think the Wizards played tonight, which means they'll be rested, and the Lakers will not be rested. So it's going to be a tough game. If the Lakers can win that game, that would really make things look good. Really. Because this is a 3-game road trip that they're on currently. The first game was at Detroit, which they won. Then they've got Washington, and then they're playing against Boston. Boston's also not a great team. Oh, if the Lakers win tomorrow night, they could go 3-0 on the trip. I tell you what, you win 4 games in a row, including 3 games on the road, and there is no lineup changes. There's no nothing. So we'll see. That's going to be a tough game tomorrow, but I'm not going to say anything because I said on Twitter before the Toronto game that could be a blowout for Toronto. I was totally wrong. So if the team's got its head in the right spot and they're feeling well rested or rested enough, then hey, anything can happen, and let's get the win. Let's just go from there. So, okay, that is it for now. Let me just say first, thank you to Gary Chen for the artwork you are looking at right now. Gary is an artist and blogger in Taiwan, and he is a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan club, and we appreciate that he made this terrific piece and allowed us to use it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Your comments below. I know a lot of people are frustrated about who's controlling the ball. I already saw Ray say that he was mad, and I know a lot of Lin fans are mad. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep moving. I do think Jeremy's going to have his chances, and he's going to have more chances. And right now, let's just get the wins, and let's have Jeremy continue to play well, just like he did tonight. We have included information in the video description below the video player where you can check out highlights of this game. Also, you can comment and join the Conservative Media Facebook group, and you'll find information on how you can come and follow us on Twitter on our 2 different accounts there. Once again, I am PFE, Paul F. for the Real, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Look, this is like a soap opera. We go through this over and over again and all this stuff. Jeremy's still starting. He played well tonight after struggling against Toronto. And I think the coaches are going to be happy with the adaptations that he's making to his game. So I don't care what's been said or speculated or any of that. The bottom line is the team won, Jeremy started, and Jeremy played well. And that's it. We're just going to keep it real simple, game to game right now. So for tonight, I'm content. Let's go into Washington, D.C. tomorrow and try to get the win. And hopefully Jeremy will play well in that game also. Okay, it is 10:52 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States on, Tuesday, December 2nd, I believe, 2014. That means it is 11:50 8:52 a.m. right now on Wednesday, December 3rd in Taipei, Taiwan. Take care, everybody. Hang in there, Lin fans. Don't get too discouraged. Everything's okay right now. Let's just go from here and see if we can't get a win tomorrow night. All right, talk to you guys soon. Have a great night. We'll be chatting again with you very shortly, in probably 24 hours or something like that from now.